Sawadee ka. Sabaydi mai ka. We're going to talk about Thailand today and why I currently live there. It is one of my bases. And this will be the first of many country reviews that I do based on my experience. So I consider myself having lived in a place if I have either been there for at least 3 months to at least 5 visits. So most of the places that I have lived, I would say the average is about 9 months. So visiting a place versus living there is a completely different experience. So I want to make sure that these are places that I've visited either 5 times, 10 times, which multiple countries count. I have at least 10 countries that I feel like I have an idea of what it's like to live there because I've dealt with the bureaucracy of living there. So Thailand is my first that I want to talk about because I currently live there and it was the first Asian country that I visited 10 years ago. And yeah, so let's talk about it, okay? Couple things that I want to start with. Um, Thailand has two major hubs that I think make for great areas to consider for relocating or temporarily escaping American chaos. Bangkok and Chiang Mai. If I were to make this video 10 years ago, I would have absolutely said go to Chiang Mai. Like, Chiang Mai is the place for digital nomads. And maybe even the term digital nomad can make you feel a little bit icky. Before I forget, half hood, half holy. Pray with me, but don't play with me. I feel like just got to make sure y'all know who this is. I got to make sure the sweater gets some love. But yeah, Chiang Mai, Thailand was like the hub for travel bloggers. I remember I had my first speaking engagement. I was a travel blogger for 7 years, for those that didn't know. So I was literally paid to travel by tourism boards, destination marketing organizations, different travel companies or brands, and it was amazing. So I did that for 7 years, and those trips and that career funded about 60-ish countries of travel. And a lot of times when I was in between gigs, I would just stay in that country for 1 month or 3 months until I got the call of like, hey, we need you in Hawaii. And I, would get on a plane and fly and film a commercial for GoPro. Very random, odd jobs. It was incredible. It was a blur of a life, but I feel like in my 20s, there was nothing more exciting. I covered festivals, just so many cool stuff. Anyways, Chiang Mai, Thailand in 2015 when travel blogging became like a viable career. Before 2015, first off, social media was just now becoming something that people use to market their business. And a lot of what the work that I did early on when I was pitching myself to companies is I would tell them like, "Hey, have you heard of Instagram?" Almost in this evangelical way. I'd like to talk to you about Jesus. And I had joined Instagram a few months after it started. I was on Facebook maybe a year after it opened. I was on Twitter the same year it opened. So very much considered myself an early adopter. And at that point, I had been blogging for 14 years. So I was already posting on the internet and sharing my story. And that became something that was just very normal to me. It wasn't weird to talk to strangers online, which is why you probably are watching me make these videos. Like, how is she doing it so easily? I've always been a yapper. I've always gotten in trouble for just talking too much in school. So, anyways, in 2015, Chiang Mai became a place where travel bloggers, digital nomads, remote workers, we had a really great community. Like, that was a place that we all kind of decided this will make for a nice in-between spot while we were working on our sponsored posts, while we were hosting group trips. Like, we were all kind of figuring out the most viable way to make a living because there still wasn't much industry standard. We still were kind of like bottom of the totem pole when it comes to how we were respected and sometimes treated by companies. It was like, yeah, we can pay them, but they're it looks like based on their social media presence, they're, traveling and having fun. And a lot of them are in their 20s. So I don't know, I felt like we couldn't command the respect of the work that we were doing in the beginning. And so yeah, it took time. So, anyways, we were all still kind of broke. Even though we were traveling, we were getting these cool gigs. The money was just, you didn't know when your next check was coming. And so, us having a soft space to land, like Chiang Mai, meant that you can keep your cost of living down to $500 a month and still have a place, have a room, have a bed, be able to eat food, and still have a social life. So Chiang Mai now, admittedly, I haven't been in 10 years, but I will go back to Chiang Mai in November. So I'm very curious to see how much it's changed in 10 years. And naturally, any place that starts off incredible, the word gets out. And even, I could be adding to the problem by doing my reviews about some of these places. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how much it's changed. So if you are someone wanting to consider Thailand, definitely check out both Chiang Mai and Bangkok. So now, Bangkok, why I chose Bangkok on accident. Um, Again, Bangkok was like my first exposure to the Asian continent. I remember being so green when I came here for the first time, came to Bangkok for the first time 10 years ago. I felt like I was in another world, another planet. Like I've entered the portal to this like otherworldly place where everything was different. And I just remember every day being this colorful adventure. It was a high that I had never experienced before. And I think the only other continent that I could come close to relating it to is, I mean, region, I guess, the Middle East. But Asia and the Middle East gave me the greatest dopamine hit of, wow, I'm traveling. Whoa, I'm in the world. Whoa, this is what? This is how you live. And, oh, it's so beautiful. And I just want to touch everything and eat everything. And oh my goodness, for someone that was like lived a sheltered life, grew up a pastor's daughter, everything that I knew about the world, I was told to believe by either my parents or I don't know what I was able to kind of find online. But in the house growing up, we were a family of eight, and all we were really allowed to watch was like the Christian network and the news. Every now and then they let us watch cartoons, but it was really like I was so cut off from like what the world was. And so I felt like I got to finally form my first opinions about places, about people, about cultures. And so, yeah, those first couple years felt like this joyride of like riding tuk-tuks and just eating meat on a stick. And it just, I mean, I was in heaven. So Bangkok is a place I consider the most overstimulating and perfectly stimulating city. It has just enough for everyone. And I want to be mindful that there is I don't know if you want to call it dodgy, but every city has its, no place is perfect. And when you think about Vegas, most people will be like, oh, Vegas, the strip, and just like they would think about half naked women on the streets selling you stuff. Like that's like most people's perception of Vegas. Mind you, Vegas is also a city where people live in like normal suburbs and houses. So I think with Bangkok, a lot of people have heard about, the ladyboy culture, ping pong shows, and they immediately go down a rabbit hole of like, whoa, this city is so dirty and like, what is all of this, and promiscuous and all of that stuff. And again, that exists in every city. So you have to be mindful. Bangkok has a lane and a path for every type of desire or obsession. And so you have to come here with like, this is what I'm here for. And mind you, I'm not, y'all are grown. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. And um, yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and say probably the hardest thing about living in Bangkok, and then I'll go into the positives. The hardest thing about living in Bangkok is seeing all of the, what do you want to call it, mismatched relational uh, mixed matched relations in terms of age. Obviously, I'm in an interracial marriage. I think intercultural relationships are beautiful. But when you see there's a large demographic of a particular type of man that comes to Bangkok or other Asian countries to pay for, solicit, hook up, I don't know, with Asian women or ladyboys. So you'll just be at the mall and you'll just see them holding hands. You'll see they're in an art, someone's in an argument, things are happening, and it's hard to turn that part off because you want to almost walk up to the woman and be like, "Can I help you? Are you okay? Like, what do you need?" You almost just want to save every woman and also girl that you see, and that is not. It's not, I don't think I'll ever get used to that. And I think it's why I avoid some areas, regions, and neighborhoods altogether. Um, there are parts where it's like blatant and it's just like everywhere, and then there are parts where it's you won't see that at all. Like, so I say that with I'm sensitive to the fact that culturally, what I do really love about Thai people is they're a very I don't know if it comes from like their Buddhist religion, many of them who practice Buddhism, but they just have a live and let live mentality. They don't judge in the way that I think most Americans do, or um, we tend to see things as like, that doesn't look right to me, therefore judgment. Therefore, how can I fix it? Therefore, how can I project my religious, cultural, whatever feeling I have about this onto you? And Thai people are so welcoming, so open, so inviting, so um, emotionally careful and mindful. And that is like humbling me constantly because I'm like, yeah, they don't see anything. They're not blinking an eye to it. So you can make your own judgment about all of that. But I wanted to be honest, that is the part that I still struggle with because I will always be for women and I always want to empower women. And so if something feels off to me, I don't want to insert myself into someone's situation and it feels, it's none of my business at the end of the day. And it's been happening in Bangkok around Thailand for years, decades, so I'm not I'm not new. The church that I go to though, we do outreach where we just, give out food and do certain just outreach on the streets. So I'm hoping to do more of that. I signed up, but I haven't been able to do it as often as I'd like. So yeah, so that's one way of like, okay, the good stuff, the good stuff. Let's talk about culture. Thai people are here's the difference, what I'm realizing between like Indonesian and Thai, because I think these are the two Asian countries that I've frequented the most. And knowing a good amount of language in both of them, a good amount of the language in both of them allows me to have, I think, a more intimate experience and way of being welcomed into their culture. So what I noticed about Thai, they are like it's like they're so polite and they're so even when they're excited, it's like they don't want to look unprofessional in their excitement, which is so adorable. So I will be, I don't know, into my seventh sentence in Thai. And once they're realizing, like, wow, this Black woman is speaking my language and I can communicate with her, they're like, and they're like chuckling and like blushing. It's just the cutest. Whereas like here in Bali or anywhere in Indonesia where I've like spoken Indonesian, oh, pintar. They say this word in Indonesian where they go, oh, pintar, pintar, you clever. You are very smart. Oh, you're sharp. And so like I feel like Bali, it's just so casual. They're like, damn, girl, like, yeah, look at you. Good for you. That's dope. Like that's what's up. I feel like I can speak colloquially, and even my Indonesian now, I'm trying to learn more colloquial words so that I can match their level because I come to them having my formal Indonesian and then they lower their like they meet me at the street level, and so I'm like, okay, I gotta learn more street. Anyways, yeah, in Thai, I feel like they're a lot more reserved in showing their excitement or, continuing conversation, but it's not reserved in a way where it's like they're afraid or anything, but they're just so well mannered. I don't know, it reminds me of Japanese culture where just everyone is so collectively respectful that yeah, it's I have a doorman outside of my condo. I live in a nice neighborhood, and what I love about my neighborhood most is that there is the whole street outside of my condo is like international cuisines. So if I'm in the mood for French, Indian, obviously Thai, but like Japanese, Korean, it's there's even like a soul food spot. I'm like, how do y'all know about soul food? And it's good soul food. I'm like, wow, I can eat anywhere in the world on my street. That feels like, oh, it's such a luxury. I've been eating good in Thailand, okay? I gotta really discipline myself because I get carried away. But yeah, so the street is very nice. And also, like all that said, there's all of the street market food too. So if I feel very casual and I don't want to like eat at a fancy restaurant or whatever, I can like buy something off the street and like that's my lunch. So what I appreciate about Thai people is, and living in Thailand, there's protocol for, hmm, how do I say this? First off, let me look up a couple things so I don't misspeak. But I feel like Thailand is a place where, sorry, y'all, please hold. This is what happens when you don't edit your videos. Y'all just gotta wait. Y'all just gotta wait. Okay. Um, every time I visited Germany, sorry, this feels like a hard pivot, but I'm going to talk about Germany because Germany feels like a place where they really love their rules. And I would never like, I mean, I don't do anything wrong, but if I ever had the desire to, I would never do it in Germany. It feels like Germany feels like, yeah, Germany feels like a place where you can't get away with stuff. And Thailand kind of carries that same energy where it's like they're polite, they're very kind, but don't you try to get away with nothing because they got cameras, security, CT, like everything is covered. And even my doorman at my condo, he dresses in like, it looks like a sailor's outfit, but he's so formal. Like I'm walking in, mind you, I am sweaty and like I just went for a walk and I look busted. Like I'm looking in a way where I'm just like, what's up, y'all? I look and feel very casual and he'll greet me. And I'm like, do I salute him back? What is the protocol? Y'all are so respectful, even when I don't feel like I look respectable. It throws me off. It throws me off. I drink some of my dirty matcha. Mm. I just learned what a dirty matcha is, like sprinkle espresso with matcha. It's And probably my favorite thing about living around Asia overall is how much access there is to matcha. When I'm in Europe, when I'm in the US, it feels like I can't get matcha. And when I learned that I had ADHD, and what caffeine does to me, or coffee specifically. I learned to limit my coffee to like once a week, but matcha, it's a more even keel energy boost. So I like what it does to me versus coffee. Anyways, yeah, some doorman in a full blown white head to toe. Again, it looks like a sailor's hat, and he's just I'm like, Sawadika. I really, I'd be really trying to match their energy, but I'm so goofy. I look foolish trying. Anyways, so yeah, everything is super fancy and it's fancy without looking pretentious. I think in the US, I remember I stayed at this really, really dope hotel. I was speaking in Tony Robbins' studio, and yeah, they put me up in a really nice place in Florida. And my goodness, I walked in there. Of course, I'm not looking for Black people, but I didn't see any. That's what I'll say. Sometimes you go to a place, again, this is my whole US existence. I go to a place wondering, am I the only one? And if I'm not, is it safe to be here? Like there's just this kind of like, you're kind of on edge because you want to feel like you're not going to get treated like you don't belong, or you're looking for someone to tell you, hey, are you lost? Because you're the only one. And so you kind of feel like, okay, how do I look like I can afford to stay at a place like this? And so I'm posturing when I don't have to. And I feel like in Thailand, everything is fancy and I can maintain my level of bum if I want to. I do feel like I'm more inspired to dress um, nicer. I don't know. I mean, you're seeing me. What I wear in these videos are kind of like what I wear on an everyday basis. I can get dressed up if I need to for an event, but on a day-to-day basis, I think what can describe my style is cozy chic, colorful chic, colorful cozy. I don't know. I really enjoy being comfortable. And I think women of a certain age, it's just, we just we like our comfort stuff. So yeah, anyways, I really appreciate how everything in Thailand looks incredibly fancy, but not to the degree of making you feel like you don't belong there. So I can walk into this fancy, beautiful chandelier, golden draped floor, and it just like, yeah, that's right. Where's my elevator? It feels very like I belong. And yeah, I miss that. Not miss that, but I've never known that. And it's really comforting. You don't realize how much of yourself can just, your shoulders can drop, knowing that people aren't looking to tell you, excuse me, can I see your key? What's your, what? It's like they look at me. Oh, gosh, I'm like, there's like a 5 second window right before you cry. And I stop myself because I'm like, this ain't the video for that. But they look at me as if I'm one of them. And I don't know. Oh, I didn't know how much I've missed that, where I'm not being looked up and down as if, what are you doing here? It's almost like welcome home. And it's this very, I don't know, it's nurturing, it's soothing, I've never experienced that in the US. And I think all my life I've had this feeling of like, what does belonging feel like? Nigerian immigrant parents, grew up in California in a majority white city, school, all that stuff, moved to Arizona, majority Hispanic, went to college in Kansas, majority white. And so I had moved around a lot as a kid, but never felt like any of the spaces, cities, schools, places, I was like majority or I belonged. And even as an adult for 5 years, I moved to a place that had a pretty substantial Black population, but even still, there was like a divide of like, yeah, the haves and the have-nots. And I'm like, this still ain't it. So yeah, I think there's always been this like void of belonging. I just want to feel like I belong. So of course, in a continent where I look nothing like the people, I feel the most welcomed. Ain't that crazy? So yeah, I will always have a soft spot. Remix. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Thailand for those reasons. I'm in my first year of living there, but what I can say so far is that I'm so glad it is my cozy, cultured, cute escape. And yeah, I'll maybe talk about it in another video how we kind of rotate. So my husband is from Bosnia and Herzegovina. We have a condo in Bangkok. We have a place in Bosnia, and we are contemplating my, actually, okay, this is super random, but my friend, she's in Bali now, and I'm about to meet with her tomorrow because she just signed a lease for land. And so I'm going to talk to her about that. And again, I've said this before, like, how can we come to places where um, we're not coming with this colonizer mindset where we are taking from the locals. And what I do love about Indonesia is that foreigners can never really own land. So you can lease land, and whatever you build on that land and whatever you earn on that land in a 15, 20, 30-year period, you can pocket. That's yours. But after the 30 years is up, baby, you better give it back to the locals. And I honestly love that. We don't deserve to come into other countries and take land from the hardworking people who don't have the option to just leave like we do. So, um, I'm entertaining what it would look like to lease land in Bali because I am here so much. And I think in the past it was harder for me to envision because I was going into the meetings by myself. And you know, when you're a woman, you're doing something for the first time, you don't always know the questions to ask. And I just honestly, I smile too much. And I don't want to be taken advantage. I'm just such a target because I'm too happy. So I gotta, my husband is Balkan, and so they could put on if they need to. Okay, so um, where was I going? Okay, we talked about accommodation. So I want you to enjoy going down the rabbit hole of searching for Bangkok condo tour. Like just search that on YouTube and see what you find. There's a really cool channel. I think his name is Isaiah Ashley. And he meets up with other Black nomads and Black expats who have different condos around Bangkok and they give tours. Now, one thing you'll notice is many of their units are very tiny. So when I talk about the video where I said, the first thing that you have to do when you move abroad is to downsize. Other countries don't do space the way the US does space. And I am still in this in-between spot where, sorry, I keep cutting off my own self. Let me finish this thought. Condos, you can find a quality condo where you don't, in the US, they're like first month, firstborn, lastborn, security check, credit check, criminal report. I don't know. In Thailand, if you got the money, they're like, you want to move in tomorrow? Which again, it shows that the US credit system is a scam. Like, if you got it now, that's all that matters. They don't hold your past against you. And I worked really hard I cleared my student debt. I wrote it off 60K in one check. I was like, all right, I'm ready to start my journey. And I'm like, okay, I got it to 800, I got to 850. And I'm like, wait, there is good debt. What am I doing all this for if I don't want to be a homeowner and I don't want to own a car? So I was increasing my credit score with nothing to do with it. So anyways, yeah, I love how in Thailand you can find a quality condo for $300 a month if you want, for $500 a month, for $1,000 a month. Whatever your budget is, there is something available for you. Now, you might have to lower your standard in terms of how much space comes with that. So a lot of the condo buildings also come with gyms, come with the usual amenities, co-working spaces, some with restaurants, just all cafes, all types of stuff. What I love most about my condo is we have a Skyline gym and there are two Pilates reformers machines. And I saw all the crave about Pilates and trying to I've been trying to find ways to create more, just have more creative workouts because I can do the treadmill, I can do the dumbbells, but I wanted something that felt a little bit more dynamic. So I'm still looking for a Pilates trainer that works one-on-one with people. So if anyone knows by chance, please drop it in the comments and I'll reach out because I'm really wanting to get into Pilates because I've seen what it's done for other people. And I have hip mobility issues, which since moving to Thailand has been like healing little by little. Oof, healthcare is another thing. We'll get to that in a second. So yeah, I really appreciate how whatever your budget level is, and no matter your past credit score, if you have the money, they will trust and you will sign a new lease and you can just move in. Now, let's talk about visas. How long can you stay? If you have a US passport, you can get a visa on arrival in Bangkok that grants you 60 days without issue. You can do up to 90 days with an extension. And in a past video, I talked about this concept of visa runs. All that means is taking like a 1 hour flight, I don't know, or like a bus, but you can go to Laos, Cambodia, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, but just get away for a weekend and then come back, which isn't a bad thing because you get to now explore different countries. And so you're increasing your country count if you care to see more of the world. And then you get to like come back and just keep living and you just reset your 60 days. So it keeps you kind of on your toes so that you're not getting too comfortable. And so I actually don't mind visa runs. Obviously, there are digital nomad visas. There's one that came out in Bangkok that is worth, checking out. You have to have a certain amount in your bank account in order to be approved. But I think these digital nomad visas are meant to benefit us. Obviously, there are some barriers, like if you can't show that you have a certain amount in your bank account, that could prevent you. So just know that the 60-day visa is enough for most people. So yeah, let that be your starting point. And again, before you move anywhere, I highly recommend just doing 1 month at a time because that is like, it'll give you the best, like, you don't want to move somewhere with the anxiety of like, will I like it? Will I like it? I hope it works out. Oh my gosh, I'm stressed. I have all my stuff. Go there with a backpack and a carry-on. Like, don't go there with too much stuff because it makes you're more mobile. You can move around more easily when you have less stuff on you. So yeah, so there's that. Okay, healthcare is probably the second best thing about living in Bangkok. They have world-class hospitals, world-class international hospitals as well, English-speaking doctors. And I talked about this as well, where you can get a comprehensive full body scan out of pocket for like $200. And you think about some of the things that you've maybe been avoiding in the US because you're not sure if your insurance will cover it, you're not sure how much it'll cost out of pocket. Bangkok, you just feel like you get humane treatment. Like they're not trying to price you out of the basics. And yeah, I'm just very grateful. I have a couple doctors in Bangkok who are working with me on I actually have scoliosis. Um, it's genetic. My mom's leg, one of them is shorter than the other. So that was passed down to me. So over the years, what it's done to my hip is it corroded the bone or it corroded the tissue in between my hip bone. So there was a lot of pain. And the more weight that I gained, the more stress and tension I put on that hip bone. So yeah, even physical therapy, stuff like that. And I just appreciate that I don't feel I feel like I have a plan. I feel like I have a way through. If you're someone that you desire to get a facial like once a month and you never felt like you could afford it in the US, here, I mean, 20 US dollars, 50 US dollars, like you can find at every budget level, there is a facial available, even less than that. So yeah, it's just, you really feel like you're able to fully take care of yourself in a way that maybe you couldn't afford to in the US. And there's this app called Relax, I guess, Relax. Shout out to Antoinette. Y'all should follow her, by the way, Antoinette Yvonne. She does incredible videos about living in Thailand as well. That's my girl. Ironically, we were both living in Barcelona 11 years ago at the same time. And now, a decade later, we both live in Bangkok, Thailand, which is crazy. It just goes to show that your people, yeah, you just never know how you're gonna meet your people. And so it's been beautiful watching her journey. She has a Beyond Borders mentorship program. She hosts group trips. So definitely check out her page. Um, yeah, so what I love about Arlax, this app that Antoinette told me about, is if you want to get a pedicure or a manicure, someone will come to your condo and do it for you. If you want a massage and it's 10 p.m. and I have food. Hold on. Okay, y'all are gonna wait, okay? I Can I just say one of my favorite places in Bali is called the Hula. And woo, woo, We are a chaotic mess today. This is crazy. I have two breakfasts, so I got to figure out. One of them I thought was canceled because I couldn't find a driver. So I was like, oh, let me just get something local. And then they're like, actually, we found a driver. So I have two meals. So what I love is that I usually order delivery in bulk. So between these two meals, it'll probably last me 2.5, 3 days. So it's great. I noticed that I eat less in Bali because the portions are they're not just proportionate, but they're healthier. Food is healthier. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. I don't even know if you can hear the doorbell ringing, but I have voice isolation mode on with Zoom where I record this. So, yeah, what was I talking about? Healthcare, RLAX, pedicure, manicure. It could be 10:30 p.m. and you're like, you know what? I just watched, this great movie, and what would be perfect is a 1 hour massage to put me to sleep. And yeah, sometimes 4 times a week, 5 times a week, I'll have my lady and use the app, and it's all very like everything has a beautiful system. And you might think that like, oh, America is so technologically advanced. Thailand is very advanced, almost to a point of like, was this necessary? Do I really need a 5-step system or protocol and three confirmations of text messages to let me know that my massage therapist is on the way? But joking, of course, but it's really cool how advanced their systems are. A lot of they have this huge mall culture where malls feel like cities. I'm sure you could say the same about the Middle East, but you go inside of a mall, you're like, oh, there's a hotel in here. It's like there's a movie theater and there's a theme park. You just feel the malls are huge. Again, it can be very overwhelming, but I find them to be beautiful. Okay, so there's that, the accessibility. Transportation. I am very much a tuk-tuk and a motorbike person. I have to do a better job of wearing helmets. Sorry for those that have seen me post videos on Instagram without helmets. By the way, if you're new here, check me out on Instagram at Glow Graphics, GLO Graphics. I'll be posting more life abroad content now that I realize this is what people actually want to hear from me. But yeah, I find like a 20-minute ride, or like I'm running an errand and what I need is 20 minutes away. Getting on the back of a motorbike with my AirPods in and music playing, and I'm going down these highways that feel like 12 lanes deep. And I'm seeing all of these skyscrapers and all of these people and all these tuk-tuks. And I think I took a video and posted it once where I saw maybe 7 modes of transportation. Some person on a bike, another person on a scooter, one person on a tuk-tuk, one person walking, one person in a car, one person in a limo. And it's like they were all converging in this one lane. I was like, this is Bangkok to a T. This is why I love this city. It's so beautifully chaotic. And I think what that mirrors in me is my ADHD. I got my ADHD diagnosis in Bangkok because it was so accessible. I was on a waiting list in the US that cost money to be on. And when I was traveling and they finally told me my appointment was available, I needed to reschedule because I'm like, I'm out of the country. And they're like, well, you have to pay another amount to get back on the waiting list. And I'm like, what in the scam? But in Bangkok, I sent an email to book an appointment. I was in the next day. That day, they diagnosed me with ADHD, asked me if I wanted a prescription, if I wanted to try medication. A few minutes later, they were prescribing me medication. The process was so humane, simple, and affordable. I was like, oh, this is actually what's normal. The US is what's the scam. Like that, they make you feel like you have to pay for basic access in the US. And it's almost as if the people that are only meant to feel the humane treatment are the elites, are the people with money. Granted, I only started making good money 6, 7 years ago. So more of my adulthood, I spent more of my life in poverty than not. So I still feel so fortunate that I chose to be an entrepreneur because I get to experience humane treatment. I get to pay for certain access, but it's still more humane outside of the country. outside of the US. Okay, so for those curious, if they also might have ADHD, the hospital that I went to is Bangkok Mental Health Hospital. I will drop in the video description, I'm going to remind myself, I will drop the carousel where I talk about the diagnostic process. It was very, very simple and very straightforward. ADHD carousel post, link to it. This is my system. Link to it at end of video. At end of video. Okay. Cool. Um, what else do I need to cover? Community. I found an amazing church there. I am grateful that a lot of my travels, I always felt like I was missing a spiritual home. And yes, I can use the Bible app, and yes, I can stream uh, sermons online on YouTube, but there's something about physically going in person to be fed. And I really appreciated that Bangkok has an international church where there's, I mean, 20, 30, 40 different cultures and languages. They even open up uh, I want to say service. They open up service saying a prayer in a different language to kind of like allow different types of people to feel welcome. They have like ASL translation, sign language that streams online. It's just so beautiful and it's so open. And what I love about the international church is like that's what heaven looks like. All people, all nations. And yeah, it just makes me feel like, yeah, this is a taste of heaven. And I really appreciate that. In terms of like other types of community, I've done, meetup.com. I've talked about that in another video, how you could search for certain things, specific types of, I don't know, whether you like to run, you like to cook, you're an entrepreneur, they have groups for all of that. And I've tried a few. I'm still trying to find my space. Not that there's anything wrong with the ones that I've gone to. I think I'm just special. Special in however way you want to interpret it. I just feel like I need a special type of community because of, I don't know, I just I like intimacy. I like intimate, so I can't do things with hundreds of people. It drowns, it overwhelms me and it drowns out, I think, the core of like what brings people together and what makes people feel safe. So more and more, I feel like I need to create the space that I'm looking for. So that's still developing, like how I'm going to create my own community in Bangkok. But seeing how other people have been able to for themselves has been inspiring. I think there's a community for every type of habit, desire, discipline, whatever in Bangkok. Like, for example, some of the entrepreneur meetups I found to be overwhelmingly male, and nothing wrong with that, guys. Nothing wrong with that, guys. But actually, here's what was wrong with that. Even though I had my ring on, I couldn't tell if someone was getting to know me or getting to know me. I tried to keep things very like, and because I'm sober, I've been sober for 3 years, just choice, personal decision that I wanted to make for myself and my future. Yeah, you're around, drunk people or they're tipsy and they're maybe being flirtatious, they're crossing boundaries, you don't really feel comfortable. And yeah, they're hitting on you, but they're pretending they're not, and it just started to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so if I go there by myself, I definitely don't feel protected because Stefan is not there. So yeah, I didn't feel safe in spaces like that. Mind you, if there's group chats, they're still very, what do you call it? They can be very helpful because they'll share links on latest updates with visas or regulations for expats. So I do appreciate that element. Yeah. And I guess the last thing I'll cover is what else? I've talked about, yeah, community, cost of living, yeah, basics, food, walking, safety, transportation. Yeah, I mean, one thing about the location of Thailand, you're in such close proximity to other incredible cultures. Like Cambodia is, I can't wait to go back. We're actually hosting a couples retreat there next year. And yeah, it's just really cool to be like a couple hours away from some really cool places. And my favorite island is Koh Samui. I've heard great things, and I finally got to visit last year when we hosted a mastermind there. And I've been to Koh Phangan, Koh, why am I blanking? I've been to four Thai islands. Yeah, but Koh Samui was my favorite, is what I'll say. I haven't been to Koh Phi Phi. I haven't been to Phuket. So still lots to discover. So I feel like I won't get bored in Thailand. And the island life, like Koh Samui, for example, reminds me of Bali 10 years ago. So if you are trying to get the Bali experience that it used to be, go to Koh Samui, Thailand. So just knowing that, I'm a 3.5 hour direct flight from Bangkok to Bali, but I also could be a 1 hour flight from Bangkok to Koh Samui. It just, it feels like such a luxury to be in close proximity to so many beautiful places that give you exactly what you need when you need it. Oh, as I'm talking about it, I'm also like, just like, man, it's an incredibly blessed existence. I feel like I just am living in my favorite chapter of life. That's the best way that I can put it. And for those that will say, oh, not everyone can afford this, it's a privilege. It is. It is an absolute privilege. It's also been, when I think about it, it's been a journey because for over a decade, I've been teaching people how to be an entrepreneur and how to make money online, not for fun, but because this is what it affords you. I don't know that, entrepreneurship is for everyone, but I know that anyone can build money online, build an income online, can monetize their voice, can build a personal brand. And I've always stood behind that. And it wasn't because I was like pro everyone becoming an entrepreneur. I was pro everyone having options. I'm pro everyone having an emergency fund to escape a country that's turning into a dictatorship. Like that is why I preach online monetization so much. So, yeah, y'all, if you enjoyed this, I have two things and two ways that I can I have two ways that I can help you, and then I'm hungry and I gotta eat. Number one, if you are someone that you are ready to share your story, you are ready to build a personal brand, you're ready to figure out how to monetize, check out glowgraphics.bio. The link is in my description. And I literally have all types of resources for every budget level, including coaching for 90 days for 50 cents a day. So literally check it out. There is something for you. And I promise you, just read the reviews. You will walk away a different person. It is hard to fail when you have the perspective, the information, the guidance, the tools, the resources, and the accountability. So check that out. And then for those of y'all who are like, oh, I got the money, I'm ready to leave Glow, join me on October 1st at the Passport to Peace workshop. You can check out the link in the description as well, passporttopeace.com. And what I'm doing is helping you with three things: figuring out your enough number, how much do you actually need to make the move abroad, figuring out what country you should consider based on my personal opinion and perspective and the country matrix I developed. And number three, how do you actually build an expansive lifestyle? What is a version of you that exists abroad that you can grow into? Because we're not about to be out here just living in another country and not growing ourselves, okay? So check out both offers. I'm excited that you're here. This has been fun. For those that have been watching since August 1st, where I started posting on YouTube every day, we've grown, y'all. We've been doing a lot. But check out my channel, check out this playlist of other videos, things that can help you on your journey. Check out the link in the description, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you.